Hello. Yeah, I wasn't able to film my reaction for that. I was like, right, I'm going to do a double bubble today. So, episode 24, we see Sasha and Ross are in the taxi and they're kind of getting amped up all the way. Alex looks at him and is like, whether you were there or not, I would have said what I said. I mean, I'm not saying I've never lost my temper. I definitely have. I remember one time in particular, but why? Christina goes off to speak to Helen. It's not even that I'm getting the wrong name consistent. It's either Penny or it's Helen. What is wrong with me? Emma, have you got a Ford Transit? You're not talking like no kisses in bed, no nothing. It's nothing. It's dry like Sahara sand dry. I don't know, man. I found my voice. I found myself. I've gone home. I've recharged. I've been around people that've heard me. I'm not letting this happen anymore, basically. But she's ready for war. You and my ex, yeah, are more similar than you think, you know. Because he said it with a lot of vim. It looked like. What go on, people, them. So first and foremost, hello. I wasn't able to film my reaction on Thursday for last week's episode 24. We're on episode 25, aren't we? Yeah, so episode 24. And it was a juicy one. I mean, it's been a juicy week, to be fair. But I wasn't able to film my reaction for that. So I was like, right, I'm going to do a double bubble today. And I've actually had to watch the episode twice because I actually watched it on Thursday. Sorry, the wee hours of Friday, but just didn't get a chance to edit it and stuff. So I had to rewatch it again today, kind of rejig my memory to like what the hell actually happened in that episode. Okay, so episode 24, right, was the dinner party. So because I've got two to do, I'm going to try and rattle through this as quickly as I can. So dinner party wise, you've got Emma and Casper that are still kind of screwing about their love and hate week. You got Luke and Amy. They're also reading from a pretty good love and hate week. Kieran and Christina are very much like the, you know, again, elephant in the room. He's feeling like I can't really be intimate with her and stuff, and she's definitely noticing it. Nathan and Lacey, they're just good. They're absolutely fine. There's no real issue with them two. After the commitment ceremony, I think they made some kind of jokes about the kind of salsa and whatever else happened through that photograph. Alex and Holly, where Holly's already gone to go and spend some time away with their family and their kids. So Alex is on his ones. You've got Sasha and Ross who are beefing. So Ross is woken up angry. He's vexed and he's like, I'm not even sure how I'm going to handle this with Alex when I see him. But the one thing that Sasha's like really happy about is the fact that Ross had her back, which I get actually, and I think it's really nice that he does support her. I do think though that there is something, not that she was getting off on the fact that he was getting so angry, but I do feel like she didn't do anything to kind of quell that. Alex is not in a great headspace because he's all just like, well, you know, I don't even know where my wife is. She hasn't contacted me all week. So he's kind of in a different headspace. You got Adam and Polly. Polly very much been just like, I'm after an apology, really. And I think Adam's tried to again placate Alex to be like, well, actually, maybe, you know, he just kind of come for you. Obviously, I'm not there, but because he feels attacked, he's come for you. And she's like, I'm not having it. She's like, at the end of the day, he owes me an apology. So from the couples that are left, to be honest, they, in the main, they should be really fine, but it's Sasha and Ross and Alex that's going to be like the kind of combustion kind of thing. So the thing, I can't remember exactly who came in first, but oh, that was it. Penny. I keep calling this woman Penny. Emma and Casper are already in there. In fact, Luke and Amy are the first ones in. I remember thinking like, Luke and Amy look really cool. They look like a really good polished couple, yeah. Then thinking when Casper came in, he's wearing like a polo neck jumper and stuff, and they're coming quite strong. But it's quite clear because I mean we already know that they're not exactly great, but it looks kind of strained, and even the experts are like, oh yeah, there's probably a lot going on there that they're not really saying. It turns to Alex or Emma asking Alex how things have been, and well, Luke gets to hug Alex first, and then Emma's asking him like, you know, how's the week been, and he's like, you know, yeah, it's been long, basically. Don't we want to talk about it? We see Sasha and Ross are in the taxi and they're kind of getting amped up all the way. and then they eventually get in. Ross doesn't waste no time before he calls Alex over, and the way he calls him over is very much on business. Like, my man isn't ramping. There's no ramping here in Ross's ramping shop. Yeah, he's like, I've been stewing on this since yesterday. I'm vexed now, and I want you over here. So he beckons Alex over, which straight away to me is like, I don't think I would respond well to that. It doesn't really matter what I've said, but you're coming in on smoke. You're definitely coming in with an agitated spirit. So straight away, my back would kind of be up. But anyway, he's, you know, basically barking up to Alex, being there, like, what you saying to my wife? How can you be so disrespectful? Why would you even say what you've said? Kind of effing him, jeffing him, blinding at him and stuff. And you can kind of see that Alex's disposition kind of changes, because as he's talking, well, as Alex is attempting to speak, Ross is like, no, I'm asking the questions here, mate. Right, I'm asking the questions here. And he's like, okay, so what you need to say, man. So what you need to say. He's like, I want you to go and apologise to Sasha. And he's like, okay, I ain't apologising to nobody. And you've got this weird kind of like standoff moment, because I feel like Ross, because he even says like, would you have said what you said, yeah, if I'd have been there yesterday? You wouldn't, would you? And Alex looks at him and is like, whether you were there or not, I would have said what I said. Anything else you want to say? And they're kind of squaring up, and he's like, so you're going to apologise? He's like, I'm not apologising. So he tells them to F off them and calls him a selfish little P. But then what I found really interesting about the interaction here is that all the time that Ross is talking to Alex, you've got Sasha that's all like, it's almost like she's God, it's really letting him out, isn't he? Like, it's really letting him, he's fuming. He's fuming. And I'm like, this isn't a healthy trait, because what you've done here, yeah, is you've amped this guy up so much because you're so upset. And he's now so red misty that he's not even able to have like a coherent conversation about why he's annoyed. Because again, you could come to me and say like, I didn't like that you said this, I didn't like that you said that from what I've told, but I wanted to hear from you as to why would you say anything like that to my wife. And he didn't really offer him that, like, and again, like, everyone's got a way of dealing with things, and maybe that's just his way, and that's fine for him. But I think even like the experts are saying, like, that's not really how you go about trying to resolve conflict. Not really. And it is making me think a lot more. And it's like, well, maybe now I can really see you dashing that ring up the wall. I can see it. Once Ross gets up, goes about his business, you've got Sasha basically calling Alex a waste man, saying it's a pom pom. And the way that she says it as well is so disrespectful. Now listen, I'm not a fan of Alex, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's going to be many people out there who aren't fans of Alex. But I do think in that moment, yeah, you're kind of degrading yourself to a point where it's like, well, I can't even now morally back you, because the way in which you're acting is so weird. Like, why are you acting like that? Like I said, Alex has not been my favourite person throughout this, really. And also as well, his interaction that he had with Sasha and Polly, bearing in mind this is just what we've seen, right? He did go below the belt, because when you start talking about materialistic things and stuff like he was doing at the spa, talking about, your fake jewellery, and I'm going to drive past you in my range and this, that and the other. Those kind of things, they should, like, no one's speaking on that kind of level, but you've decided to take it there. So I think it's really difficult, man, because watching it, yeah, like, I think the whole show so far, I think Alex has been a bit of an antagonist, or not a bit, quite a bit of an antagonist, has been very like aggy as well. Do you know what I mean? It's been aggy, like, and has definitely rubbed even me as a viewer up the wrong way, to be like, that's just, you're going on like so out of order to people, like, but he did say that he doesn't speak to the guys like that because they've never given him a reason to. But I have noticed that like his face does alter and his face does change. But anyway, in terms of speaking to the women, he definitely does seem to have certain mouth, or it comes across that way anyway. It comes across that way. He's got certain mouth for the women. I can understand from Ross's perspective that he was like, look, I'm not gonna have you speak to my wife that way. The reason I'm saying this is, I think that had Ross approached him in a different manner, I think there could have been a different outcome. Basically got the impression that he was going to come in and basically tell him about himself, and you're going to apologise to my gal. No. Run. Get up and run. And it didn't really run like that. As much as I don't rate the way in which Alex has spoken to certain people, I did in a certain way kind of not rate, but I could only, I don't know, rate's the wrong word, respect's the wrong word, but I could at least acknowledge his position of being like, big man, you ain't about to come and run through this door, yeah, and tell me to get up and go and apologize to, like, you know, you could explain to me why you're upset. You can explain to me, like, I think kind of like he did say later on in the episode, it was like, you know, he could have come to me, explain why he was upset. I would have listened to him, but he didn't do that. He came on smoke, and I think it's really difficult to shame the devil when you're lurking in his basement. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like Sasha the day before, like, you're calling him out for him not coming to speak to you, number one, and you stewing about the fact that he hasn't, the fact he disrespected you and gone to speak to Atlan, speak to your husband almost on your behalf, like, all of that is disrespectful. But then you can't then turn around and be like, F you, and I'm gonna, because what that does then, it lowers your position, yeah, and it says, you know what, actually, the same things you're complaining about, and it was not the same thing, but they're cousins. It's aggressive, it's out of order, it's rude. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've lost whatever moral footing. And I think for me, if I'm ever in a situation like that, I mean, I'm not saying I've never lost my temper. I definitely have. I remember one time in particular, boy, I thought I was going to mash up that hotel. But those kind of situations there, A, you remove yourself from it. But B, particularly when you've got time to then do reflection and stuff, which they would have had, you would have thought that actually, okay, I'm going to come to a commitment ceremony where everyone's there. I'm going to make sure that I've got decorum and I'm calm. I kind of felt as though that it was like a stage to them, that like, right, this is where it's about to go down. And when Ross was talking to Alex, I felt like Sasha was kind of getting off on it, so I didn't like that. But you know, Alex continued to wind them up. And that's when she started, you know, she's calling him a pom pom, and that, like, and how he's a waste man, and how that, and that she'll continue to call him a pom pom however many times that it's gonna take, like, she's not scared of him, and that he's a teat wat, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, like, so you've got no regard about the fact that, like, you're in a public scenario right now with other people that have got nothing to do with this. Like, don't get me wrong, as I said, I've not been the biggest fan of Alex, but you can't condemn someone for doing something which you're now willingly doing. And then he's quite happily being the wind-up merchant as well, grinning at his face, you know, looking at them, grinning at his face and stuff, just walking past, just and then, like, what, you look, he's looking again. Look what he's doing. He's looking over here. Da, 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 da. So he is being a wind-up merchant, and he knows by grinning up. I mean, that's the thing, innit? Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, when you're vexed, yeah, and someone says to you, calm down. Fam, I'm calm. No, my best friend, my bro, we used to argue all the time, and like, he'd always start to be like, bro, we need to relax, bro. You get so vexed for, man. Just calm down. There's nothing that's more pushing your button ready than someone telling you to calm down when you're already vexed. Don't tell me to calm down. So I can understand why having someone smug walking across the place is gonna make you wanna blow. Kieran and Christina come in, and energy goes up, and Kieran goes off to speak to Luke. Christina goes off to speak to Helen. It's not even that I'm getting the wrong name consistent. It's either Penny or it's Helen. What is wrong with me? Emma, and Kieran saying to Luke, you know, nothing's really changed. I still feel kind of the same. The sparks are gone. Christina's saying to Emma that, look, I just want to kind of shake him and be like, look, hello, I'm here. Luke's like, oh, I just feel really, really bad. I swear to you, yeah, Luke. I follow him on Instagram now, by the way. Like, I think, yeah, sick. So funny. He goes, between me and you, Kieran, between me and you, yeah, everything's good, yeah, but when, you know, me and Amy are together, you know, she likes for me to park my car in her garage. Now, I've always been brought up to, park the car outside, you know? Um, I mean, to be fair, that actually wasn't what I thought he was talking about. So, I mean, I knew it was something to do with something, but I didn't know that's exactly what he was talking about. So I was like, oh, okay. So Emma, when Emma's come over, sit down, Kieran's giving him the advice that do you know what you need to do, bro? He's like, you need to just take the wheels off. You just need to take your wheels off, yeah. And then Emma goes, oh, have you got a Ford Transit? Sorry. Oh dear. Sorry. Absolutely hilarious. Have you got a Ford Transit? Luke has been responsible for so many like funny conversations in this series. Yeah, like for that alone, you can never make me hate him. For that alone. Anyway, I think Nathan and Lacey might come in after that. I think, and Polly and Adam as well. They're all like, "Oh, you didn't miss anything," but obviously you missed Bear. So then they eventually go and sit down around the table and stuff, and then Alex decides that he's going to, attention everybody, which at the time I was like, wow, look at him being all brave, and he's on his ones and he's gonna address the room. And my bestie, who you'll probably see on Thursday, he was like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. He was like, bro, do not eat the porridge. He's like, there's no way, yeah, that he was doing that just to be nice. But at the time I was like, I think he is. But the way in which because Sasha's got up from the table, she's like, I'm not here for this BS, mate. I'm off skis. And Ross went with her. Alex is like, oh, I must just anger people. Anyway. And it's like, it's that kind of nonchalant kind of just, I know I'm pushing, but so I think, again, at the time, I was like, oh, okay. Like, he's trying to really just be, because the speech he gave, I thought was a quite a commendable one. But again, in hindsight, because I've now watched it twice, I was a bit like, I'm getting a lot of woe is me. I don't know where Holly is. No one's really heard from Holly. Things are gonna go well. Things are gonna go bad. You gotta take the rough with the smooth. Let's just try and enjoy the time that we've got together, everybody, because love conquers hate, and where there's no peace for one, there's no peace for anyone. Kumbaya. Do you know what I mean? It was very, very like, okay. But I don't want to take it away from him altogether because I don't know him. Do you know what I mean? So he could have had genuine motivations, but yeah, I don't know. And Lacey calls him over and he's like, oh, Alex, I heard you wanted to talk to me. He's basically like, look, I misheard what you said. He's like, I hold my hands up. He's like, I thought, and I did think this. I was like, that is such a weird, why is he calling her a snake? Look, did he expect for Lacey to back up Orson and be like, oh, no, they're not doing a thing, they didn't kiss. Like, why would that make her a snake for just saying no, but they did though? I was like, I didn't understand that, but I think it makes sense that he thought that she was saying that basically you were both on a double date, because again, like I said, he misheard. Either way though, the way that he was like, you're a snake, yeah, it was literally like a scene from Top Boy. It was like when Sully found out that Jax had teethed out his food, had taken his food. Like, it was like, snake, yeah you. It's like, fam, like, this is never that deep. We're basically in couples therapy right now. Dish out a pack of biscuits, some mint tea. You've got yourself quite a nice afternoon. Like, this doesn't need to be about the snake. So I could understand why. I think for Lacey it was like that came from nowhere. But either way, he apologized. She accepted the apology. They hugged it out. It's like the Alex tour, basically. He was doing the tour of the table, the Alex tour apology. Do you know what I mean? Like, or the Alex apology tour. The AATs, if you were. Adam's like, oh, I think maybe we should have a conversation. He then asked Luke to swap. So Alex then sits there. And they have a really good bro conversation, to be fair. He doesn't like shy away from anything. He's like, obviously, Polly's come home upset because you've basically said all this stuff about me not being attracted to her and stuff. And I thought, well, these are the things that trigger her. And it's obviously like really crap for her to hear that. He's like, I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't true. He's like, but when you first got here, you were like, I'm not attracted to her. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just repeating that. They're coming for me. Her and Sasha are both coming for me. I was just on the attack. Do you know what I mean? At one point, she told me that like her relationship's better than mine. Do you know what I mean? So I've got them coming for me. I don't even know what's going on with Holly. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've got my head's already scrambled with that, and I've got that to deal with. He was like, "Look, I can see where you're coming from." He's like, and that's not very nice to hear that, to be fair. And he's like, "This is what I wanted." He's like, "This is what I would have expected." Yeah. He's like, Ross and Sasha probably would have got an apology from me, but the way that Ross came at me like that, it's like, I'm not getting nothing. It's like, see how you've approached me. You actually asked me, like, what happened yesterday. You actually want to hear from me. And Adam was like, that's why I want you probably to kind of kiss and make up and stuff, because you guys are actually close. And that was interesting to me because I didn't know that they were close. But then again, thinking about it logically, they were in that cottage together, weren't they? So that does make sense. They firms it out, and then Polly and Alex speak, and they have a proper conversation. Like, he actually does apologize to her, and they do kind of talk like big friends. Like, to the point where he's like, he apologizes because he's like, that's the one thing that it did hurt, because you made it sound as though that he's said something to you recently, like knowing full well that's something that would bother me. And he's like, look, there's been no secret conversation between Adam and I. Like, everything that he said in front of the experts is exactly what he said behind closed doors. So you got no worries there, and I'm genuinely sorry. She's like, I'm really sorry as well, and she's like, I love you, and I was like, wow, like, I don't know, man, like, it's really hard to kind of judge these things in it, because it's like, well, we're not there, so we don't know. Like, but you've got that much love for each other, but you can cuss it. Like, I'm telling you something now, yeah, that was me. I don't think there's someone that I could genuinely love that I could cut them that deep, unless I fully intended for the friendship to be irreparable. Do you know what I mean? Like, how I'm gonna tell you that, like, basically you have to beg for bargain bin basement affection. Bargain bin basement affection, and expect that we're gonna sit down and then clink the wine glass the next day. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But whatever. They kissed, they made up. Then the big reveal. It's Holly, guys. Yeah, she kind of hugs everybody. Her and Alex eventually talk, and she's basically saying that, look, I went home. I had to have a think about stuff and whatever. She's like, that comment you made about, not caring about the fact that I miss my kids and stuff. She's just like, I just realised that, like, not once that you asked me about my kids. And he's like, well, you've always said you're okay. And she's like, yeah, but that's your job to ask me if I'm alright, if I'm missing my kid. You never asked me once. So the only way that I can see this moving forward, yeah, is with the help of the experts. And it's like an EastEnders moment. Like, it ends there. So the next episode, they show a clip of the commitment ceremony, and you've got Nathan and Lacey, who are pretty happy and stuff. You've got Adam and Polly again. She's talking about getting butterflies. Give me butterflies, I'll be flying so high in the sky. Give me those butterfly eyes. Alicia Keys, big tune. Then you've got people who ain't so happy, like your Helens. At this point, I think it has become a disorder. The Helen disorder, because what on earth? Emma and Casper, who are in complete shambles and disarray. Kieran and Christina also don't look that great. And then you've got also Alex and Holly. So I was going to do this in two, but I'm actually going to do this in one, because I think I can probably squeeze into one. So the commitment ceremony, it starts with Kieran and Christina again are being a bit weird with each other. Like, it's good and they're okay, but it's not. I think, like, in the day before episode, before the dinner party, he throws a tea bag at her, yeah, and she catches it or whatever. They're being playful, and he's like, "Oh, that's the last time I'm teabagging you." And it's like, again, I can imagine that, like, that would hurt. Oh, that was the other thing, sorry, because at the commitment ceremony, the other bit of beef was that Kieran ended up kissing Polly on the lips. In fact, he kissed Polly and Adam on the lips. I don't know about you guys yet, but you see, this cold sore business, like, I only have to hear a whiff of. I mean, I don't really like too much of all of that from people anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know you, and the thing is, I don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. So but for you to tell me that you got that, and now you're just running around here just living. No, thank you. No, thanks. You can keep all of that. Thanks. But imagine the fact that he's making jokes about the fact that I'm not teabagging you anytime soon, love. We've not done anything this honeymoon night, and you can go and kiss up Polly and kiss up Adam in front of me. I understand why she was upset. because it's just hurt. Obviously, there's nothing in it. He's not looking to jump the bones of Polly or Adam, but it's just wow. Like you just out here just putting your lips on all these other people, but you can't do that for me. So yeah, they're still in like a really weird space, and he's very much, and he keeps saying that, like, I've not been able to be intimate with her. I don't want to lead her on, but I'm like, I get it, yeah. If he was like a complete tool bag, like I could understand the whole thing about because like I just bang girl and that's it. But he's not doing that. He seems like a really nice person. So I don't think even if he did decide to have fun with her or whatever, it would automatically mean then that I'm co-signing for life. And I just find it really, really weird that you can spend that much time with someone that you think is amazing, that you say you're attracted to, and nothing of any level into. You're not talking like no kisses in bed, no nothing. It's nothing. It's dry like Sahara sand dry. I don't know, man. I don't want to say that he's not a genuine person, but I feel like it's a bit of a cop out. We do see a little bit more today, but I'm still not 100% sold. But anyway, Nathan and Lacey are going into it pretty cool as well. Like there's no problems with them. Sasha and Ross are feeling deflated. Well, he's like he's blessed. She's feeling deflated because she has to see Alex again. So she's very much still in the throes of the Alex and her feud. He's still gonna back her, and they're all, and she's really grateful to him for backing her. She said the same the night before, but she tells him again, it's like, I'm just really glad that you got my back. He's like, always. And she's like, and she makes a comment about the fact that her dad would have been really happy. And I think again that's another sign, yeah, of that being like almost like an overarching thing. Like I don't know, again, maybe it's different for girls, and obviously I've never been in that situation to be like, oh, I need a man to protect me, but I don't know. I've got this idea in my head, yeah, of someone that gets into beef and disagreement with people, and then like, oh, it's okay, because my man's here. My man's gonna sort this out. And I'm like, I just don't really like that. I mean, to be fair, actually, saying that, she did attempt to sort it out herself first, and it was Alex that then deferred to Ross in her defense. But I do still think there's an element of like, I've enjoying the royal. Do you know what I mean? A little bit, and I just don't rate that. Like, surely it'd be better for her to try and calm him down, to be like, let's not take it to that level. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to kind of egging it on. Anyway, Casper and Emma are definitely not in a great space at all. He's not over the comment that she made about the whole "I just don't like you enough," and she's not over the comment about him wanting to practice so he could get better for other people. So it does seem that they are in this kind of cyclical thing of like it's not moving any further forward, and they both can't let go of what the other person has said. So anyway, they get into the commitment ceremony. This is the penultimate one, and there's one more next week. So they've only got 2 sessions left with them basically. So they're like laid all out on the table. None leave nothing. I think Sasha and Ross are up first. He explained that yeah, he took Alex off straight away, and he did that because he wanted to get it off his chest straight away, and that he was angry, and that he's still angry now. And they were like, with the anger, like, do you think that this is something that you could have? I think they asked him that anyway. I think they explored that anyway. Alex comes into the conversation, and he's explaining that, look, had he come over in a different way, he's like, I probably would have apologized and stuff. He's like, but the way that he came at me like that, it was just like, that wasn't gonna happen. Ross was just like, it was just something very simple that could have been squashed there and then, and it wasn't. We could have gone back to square one. So then they're like, oh, do you want to go back to square one? And he was like, no, he could F off. It's too late for that now. Too much has gone on. I can stand with people that stand 10 toes down, yeah, and just like, nah, I'm good. I've seen that you're not really my kind of people. I don't really want you to be my kind of people. Because you got to think as well, it isn't just the disrespect that Alex gave to Sasha. It was everything that then ensued. So I don't like using the word gaslighter too often because I think people throw it around too often. But I feel like this is almost the definition of it. Like, Alex, because of the way that he acts, or the way that he's acted in the show previously, the way that he's, gone at Holly, the way that he's, given, whether he means to or not, has given attitude to other people in and around him and given off this energy. I think people like Sasha are already primed then to kind of receive that energy in that kind of way. Wear anything down enough, yeah, you will dig down deep into the groove. Before you know it, you've not actually got the groove left. You're just down to the hard metal. And I think for him, he'd done so much and therefore got to the point where he had upset Sasha so much that she kind of just lost the plot. But because she lost the plot at how he'd previously behaved, he then decided to go even lower than we'd already gone. So it's like we're all focused, myself included, as focused on Sasha's response to him and almost Ross's response to him, but forgetting that actually the initial frustration is with what Alex caused in the first place, because he didn't need, like, he might say, look, you attacked me, but you are on a show we're called Married at First Sight. It's all about relationships, about what's happening in your relationship, how it's progressing. None of them are Maury and none of them are the experts, so you haven't got to answer their questions, but it is likely that they're going to ask you stuff. So, your wife's not here, they're friends with your wife. If this was the real world, your friends would ask you what going. They probably would ask how you're feeling as well, but they would still ask you. So to come at people when actually they're asking you questions which you might find annoying, but it doesn't necessarily warrant the response in the way in which you delivered it. So you've given that response. Yeah, you've given that whole kind of energy and stuff. They've then taken that. You've then gone lower. The husband then got upset. So realistically, like, he didn't have to be in a position to accept anything, because he's like, well, actually, do you know what? I don't rate the way in which that you have conducted yourself overall, because all of that with the faces and the laughing. Because even then, when they hadn't even finished with Ross's bit, Alex is still kind of just sat there and they're just, and it's like that. Not only is it childish, but it's like beyond frustrating. And it got to the point where Holly was like, I can't even sit next to you. I can't even sit next to you. So Luke had to swap, because she's like, I can't. What did she say? She's like, you're knocking me sick. You're knocking me sick. But anyway, once Ross declined the apology, Alex did then offer an apology to Sasha. And she was like, look, usually I would accept it because it takes a lot for people to apologise. But for him, she's like, nah, I'm not taking it, because I don't, it's not about making him look like the good guy. But I do rate the fact that, the expert said, look, it's your prerogative to accept it or not. That's fine. But I do rate the fact that they're called out equally their behaviour, because it's like, nobody's great here, so don't think that anyone sat looking like Winnie the Pooh has just won a gold medal. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's won that. Anyway, then she explained the argument that they had, that her and Ross had about the text that Alex had sent him, sorry. To be fair, Ross did own up to the fact that he lost his temper, he lashed out, he dashed his ring off he said it was on the floor, she obviously said it was on the wall. But I don't think that matters about where it was. The fact is that he took off his ring and he dashed it, and she explained that, like, that made her feel like, the relationship's now unpredictable, and the fact that he can do that at any point. And how am I going to move from Birmingham to Manchester knowing that you've dashed off your ring after what really probably, if we looked at it, is quite a benign argument. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens when the real friction starts? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do then? Are you gonna just dash off your ring every single time? So I can understand why she's like, there's a real uncertainty there. But they ended up staying anyway, so they're good. Luke and Amy after them, actually. And in the main, they're good. Like, they are good. I think, they spoke about how good the week was with the pottery and stuff. What she did say, and fair play to her, she was like, look, I'm open, bedroom, chilling, we'll explore, everything's Chris. She's like, but when we're out in that, she's like, some of those crude things, she's like, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. And I can relate to that. I definitely can relate to that, because I remember, like, we weren't even really dating at the time, but I remember someone that I was talking to, at least anyway, who I did think was actually really nice, but they would just send these really, like, vivid messages throughout and I think, like, you've got to be in a headspace where you're wanting to receive that from someone, and that can be different for different people. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm not saying that that's never been the case, but I just remember just being, like, repulsed by these messages, and like, I don't know. So I can understand for her if she's just like, I'm just not in a situation right now where I want to hear any of that. And then even when she did the impression of it, it's like, oh, I want I want the chair to be your face. And even he looked embarrassed, you know what I mean? Like, so, but he did say, in trying to understand her boundaries, that one of the things that he, is important to him is being able to be that way with his partner. He's like, but I know I've got to let that go. And she's like, no, you're not going to let it go. You've got to just tone it down. The experts supported her in saying that as well. I can't believe how much of a 180 it has been when it comes to Adam, because I didn't think at any point I would ever be sat here being as like, he's one of the people that I actually think I kind of like. Like, I feel like the experiments have like been good for him almost, and maybe it just takes time for people to really come out their shell enough for you to kind of see. Like, I think it's almost like the whole light around him is completely different. He doesn't even, I feel like, look like the same person, if that makes sense. So much warmer and nicer, and he seems like he's a bit daft, but like kind-hearted with it. I know he said a lot of stuff in the beginning, which is pretty unforgivable for someone to say, but if people can't go on journeys and they can't learn, then what is the point of anything? Do you know what I mean? Like, so the fact that I'm not saying this is like a lifelong, transformation that he's made, but for the time that he's on the screen with us, I'd prefer to see this Adam than the one that we saw in week 1. So yeah, man, he's talking about how great the week has been, one of the best weeks ever. He seems like he's really proud of it as well, and proud of where him and Polly are. And he even said like it was really difficult to find something. It's like, I don't hate anything about her. She was like, I didn't struggle. And she did say, like, the lack of intimacy, it could still be more than what it is. You never call me beautiful. And I find it odd, yeah, because even as I'm giving him all this praise, and yeah, he's gone to the trouble of doing the rose petals with the candles, and Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast is in there, like, cooking up the chorizo chicken and whatever. You still haven't called her beautiful. I called a lady beautiful in Card Factory the other day. I was buying like a 59p card and a helium balloon, and I called her beautiful. Granted, she was like, 65 or something, 65, 70. But the point I'm making is, like, you can call anybody beautiful, let alone the person that you're married to, that things are progressing really, really well. Like, why is that a difficult thing to say? Oh, you look beautiful. It's like the easy thing to, like, I don't even, like, so that, again, makes me go, like, I feel like the reason that Polly gets so triggered by this attractive thing, yeah, is because I don't think deep down she believes it. And I think even though they've come on leaps and bounds from where they were, I don't know. That I've only just thought that, actually. I've only just thought that. He still hasn't called her beautiful. Hmm. Hmm. Can't cook all the chicken you want to cook. Cook all the chicken you want to cook. But if you can't turn around to the person that you're looking into, like, and you're, getting all jiggy and you can't call them beautiful, that naga lasts. So they end up staying. Then, yeah, you got Emma and Casper, and I've been thinking they should have done for a long time, and it did result in them leaving. But I think, like, it was touching. It didn't make me cry, but it was touching to see that, like, both of them were clearly, like, hurting and sad. And it must be really difficult when you know that you just don't have what the other couples have, and seeing things are blossoming for other people, and and hopefully, like Paul says, that, like, people have learned something about themselves, and they can take that into their next relationships and stuff. But yeah, it did seem that, like, when Casper was talking about how his feelings were hurt about what she said, it was a little bit like, like, because I was saying, last week, I was saying that, like, she it's like she doesn't remember that she said that. I don't think I like you enough to be vulnerable. I mean, listen, if you don't even like me, fam, what the frig are we doing here? Like, let me go home now. Um, but I think in the grand scheme of everything else, I think he has said so many. My thing was, I get why she doesn't feel that she can, because you need to be able to trust someone to feel as though that you can be vulnerable. And if you've already demonstrated that I may not be your person because of some of my physical attributes. Why am I ever gonna like allow myself to get vulnerable with you and then like risk my feelings and my heart getting hurt? Like, no thanks. So I kind of rate the fact that she was honest about it, but then I didn't rate the fact that she didn't get why he was like, well, I don't want to just sleep with you. And I think he's got a good point. He's like, you want to test out sleeping with me, but then when I say it to you, you're offended. I thought it was very, very interesting that Mel was like, I'm gonna flip it on his head. Yeah, you know, have you ever had? And what I thought was really interesting about that as well, that when she said that, I can almost see that Emma was like, get it, Mel. You can kind of see that. But yeah, it was really sad, and I did feel for them. I mean, if they'd stayed, I would have been like, you were just here for the cameras, because why would you put yourself through any more of this? And I think it was Nathan and Lacey. Again, they're blessed. They're absolutely fine. I think. Oh, there was one thing actually. Luke. One of the things that Luke and Amy did say. Amy was saying that I've got a hesitation in that. In the spa thing with the salsa, Luke had texted her to say, I'm so glad that it wasn't you that was doing what Lacey was doing in that picture. He was trying to explain. He was like, yeah, because, you know, Amy, like, you know, because she's got class and she's got dignity. And Lacey was like, I beg your biggest pardon. Are you saying that I don't have those? And he's like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what I said to Amy. And she's like, yeah, but what you said to Amy is indirectly or pretty much directly implying that I don't have no dignity or no class. He's like, it was dance class, salsa. And he's like, no, I'm not saying that. It's like you're putting words in my mouth. So she's vexed now. She's already got that. Because, I mean, and most people in the room were like, Luke, shut up, no man. Because it was like a digging, bro. Like you were. I guess I could understand where he was trying to go, but by going where he went, you've just dashed her on the no class, no dignity, legs akimbo. Go down and spread your eagle on. Go down and spread your eagle on. Go down and spread your eagle on. You literally just been like, okay. So I can understand why she was vexed. Yeah, they made it quite clear that they've got a lot of trust in their relationship. Everything's gone from strength to strength. Nathan isn't exactly the most Shakespearean with his words. The one thing I did think was a bit of a push, though, was the fact that and again, it's what's important to her, but she was talking about these flowers. And I was like, did they come from like the Downton Abbey rose garden? Like, because they're just a bunch of flowers. Like, you know, if he'd got a bunch of flowers and I don't know, because he said his acts of service is his love language, and I can see that he's always like making breakfast for her and that kind of stuff. But I did think it was just a bunch of flowers. Is that just me? Am I being cynical there? But look, she's happy. That's the main thing. They're both gonna stay, Kieran and Christina, and they had like a real open heart to heart. Man, he was basically saying, "Look, I think he actually said the word I don't want to be intimate with them," which is just hard to hear anyway. And then he went on to be like, you know, I don't want to feel as though I'm wasting my time. I'm like, wow, like Chef's skin has got to be thick, because she's like, look, I want him. They're trying to explore like what it is that's making him not want to be intimate with them. He's like, oh, I don't want to lead her on because she's incredible. And then it comes down to the point that he's talking about his exes and stuff, and how that's what he's petrified of, and how he's given like lots to other people before and they've just basically crapped all over him. So when he explains it, it does make a bit more sense as to why he feels the way he does. But it's still like, but she's not your ex though, bro. And she's not showing any signs of that. And then when they decide to stay, he's giving his whole like thing about, you know, I know it's on me. Like, you are incredible. I don't want to lose this. Because she's like, look, at the end of the day, she's like, I want you. I don't need you. Because he's like, oh, you know, I've got to think about myself. And I always said that I wouldn't be in a situation where someone's got to depend on me again. And she's like, well, he's telling you I'm going to depend on you. But is it just me, though? Or has this whole season so far not been about her kind of been like, you know, my PDD and him being there from the peak? So I think that's probably where he's got that from, to be honest. But again, he's chosen to stay, as she has as well. So I'm like, you say that you really want to work, and you guys are going to put the work in for this week, but I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced that someone can be around you for that length of time. Like, especially as I say, like, I'm not an animal person, but I know how much people love their dogs. You that whole moment, and you're still not like, oh yeah, you're gonna get some, like, nothing. I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But look, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just the refocus that he needed. Then it goes to Alex and Holly. I'm a bit mixed with this yet because, as I said, I feel like my favour kind of went from Holly a while ago, and a lot of what she was saying, like, she's very much like, I've basically found my voice, I found myself, I've gone home, I've recharged, I've been around people that have heard me. I'm not letting this happen anymore, basically. But she's ready for war, and I think because of the way that Alex has been going on as well, like with the other girls, I think she is embarrassed. I think she's embarrassed that she's on live TV with on national television with someone who has kind of disrespected her privately and in public and her friends. But then it's the stuff that she mentions about her kids. So she talks about this double date that her, Shannon, and Ryan were going on. And Ryan and her were down because they were missing the kids and stuff. And Alex apparently was like, what with you? What with you? What's the energy like? And she was like, maybe to have a thought for other people who've got kids, yeah, because they're going through a hard time right now. And he was like, F this. I was like, I'm not going. And he denies that. But she was like, it was that comment that told me, yeah, that like, it's like, that's just unforgivable. Do you know what I mean? And he kept saying, look, at the end of the day, like, we've been chilling in bed and whatever, and you've never said that you miss your kids. And then she's like, there was that one day when my daughter called me, read me a poem, and I was blarting my eyes out. You didn't speak to me. You didn't ask me if I was all right. You didn't come give me a hug. You didn't do nothing. And just hearing the way that he's spoken to other people about the fact that at the end of the day, like, I've not got any kids, so I'm not coming with that kind of mindset. You don't need a mindset like, oh my God, suddenly I'm Geppetto. Empathy. Someone's probably missing their family, their children. Let me ask. Let me be interested. Let me inquire. There's nothing worse than someone that shows zero interest in the things that you are passionate about. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also like, why did she come back? I don't understand, because that to me would have been enough to be like, you ain't my person. You're never gonna be my. If my kids are that important, yeah, and you can't ask inquisitive questions or anything. So has there been any conversation about the kids? I don't know. It just seems really bizarre. So I kind of feel as though she came back, because even like when she was talking to him and stuff, and Paul called it out, because she was like, I need my voice because you don't give no one a voice. You're rude. You're arrogant. All your facial expressions and stuff, like, you're like, I'm speaking. I'm speaking, but she's still very much like, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm not gonna do that, and so you're still giving these things out that tells me that, like, I don't know. We didn't live with them. Do you know what I mean? We didn't live with them, but I've definitely seen her at dinner parties where she's had a lot to say, and no one's stopping her. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. But then I also thought it's kind of disingenuous that Alex was like, you can talk to me. I don't know why you think you can't talk to me. And it's like, well, the reason I can't talk to you is because of all the reasons why everyone else has fallen out with you, because you're really hard to just have a disagreement with. Like, it's clear when everything's cool, everything's fine, but as soon as something that you don't like, it's World War Three, and I can only imagine what that would be like to live with. You just you just do anything to make yourself want. So on the one hand, I'm like, you know what, fair play, go you. Let that be a lesson to other, people that are in like those kind of situations that are just really toxic. Like, get up and leave, particularly if you got kids. But then I'm also like, yeah, but you did contribute to a lot of that toxicity as well. And even this like breakdown isn't making you come off in the best light, if I'm honest. So I don't know. I'm kind of just glad that they're not going to be on the TV anymore. Like, just, you know, again, Paul was like, or Charlene was like, but last week you guys were so good, and she was like, yeah, but it's, that was just one good week, when actually we can have such a turbulent week. But I'm like, you've been having this since the get go, so. I did rate Alex in saying that, I called this from early, that there were red flags, but I'm like, the red flags that you're calling, there were red flags with you too. and trying to say that you don't see yourself in the third person, that isn't a good enough excuse, really. Not when and then to say to people, why have you not just told me how you feel? They've been telling you, and you've just done nothing about it. If anything, you've done the same and worse. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. Again, I'm glad that they've kind of gone, but I think that could have been a lot sooner as well. They could have gone a long time. And I said, I feel like she's come back to almost be like, and I'm gonna tell him. That's the vibe that I got. But fair play. Like, I didn't have to live with it, so maybe all of that intense pressure. What she said, I feel like I can breathe again now. I'd hate for anyone to ever feel that I'd made them feel that they can't breathe. That's horrible. For tomorrow's episode, it's a wife swap. So Adam gets Amy, Polly gets Nathan, Lacey gets Luke, Kieran goes on a double date with Christina. I think Sasha and Ross, they go on a double date. Sasha's like, this is the worst golfing thing I've ever been on. And then, it looks as though that Kieran, proper, snidely, it looks like that anyway. Just you and my ex, are more similar than you think, And obviously Christina's beside herself because she's like, I'm not your ex. I don't know, man. As I said, things like that just make me go, Kieran, I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. Because he said it with a lot of vim, it looked like. I might be wrong, but anyway, that is my rundown over the last 2 episodes. It's definitely feeling a lot lighter on the ground now. In fact, they've only got this week and obviously next week left. And it does feel that some of the behaviours have been spoken about, but I don't know whether they've been fully explored, is my only thing. I think there's a few couples in there that I'm like, I would have explored that a little bit further. But alright, see what happens in tomorrow's episode. So yeah, for now, thank you so much for watching with me. And again, apologies for the delay. I just got very, very, very busy on Friday. I shall be getting this up and edited for a bit later on today. Yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts were. If you did enjoy this, then please drop me a like and subscribe. That would be fantastic. And I guess I shall see you on the next one.